Yes, welcome back to Hot Topics. I'm Jeff Ajamai with Home Life Miracle and House of Trade, bringing you the most talked about real estate news stories of the week. First, I want to plug the houseoftrade.ca website, specifically the Mobile Age of Real Estate blog. Find it on the houseoftrade.ca website. We go into a bunch of technology trends happening in North America with technology and real estate, how it's changing the real estate process and our environment. Also, check out the House of Trade application with over 20 plus years of real estate sales data available for iOS and Android. You can also find that down below in the description. Check those out, houseoftrade.ca website, description down below. Let's jump into it. This is a story brought to us by The Star and BlogTO about a residence called the Terraces of Princess Gardens. It's a very fancy name, very fancy. And it's a new development, 16-story, 259-unit apartment building that's under the federal loan program that's going to be coming to Etobicoke. And it's going to be stationed right off of Eglinton and Kipling. So when you're coming off, let's say the 401, going east, and you're coming off the 401 off Eglinton, you will likely see it. I believe it's on your right side. I could be mistaken. So 80% of the 1 and 2 bedroom units that are going to be available at the Terraces of Princess Gardens are going to be considered affordable housing units that are going to be about 30% below the median household income. So median household income in Toronto is about $79,000. 30% of that on a monthly basis would be about $1,975 a month. Much more affordable than the $2,300 a month that people pay for a 1 bedroom or for the average 1 bedroom in the city. So that's a good plus. That's definitely a good plus. And it's under the federal loan program. So with an $89 million loan from Ontario's Rental Construction Financing Initiative, and that's part of the federal Liberal government's 10-year, $40 billion national housing strategy. Their strategy is to build about 100,000 new homes, and they want to make sure that they're offering about, through CMHC, $3.75 billion to build new housing, new affordable housing at a low cost or at low cost loans to developers through 2021. So they're offering that to developers, and they've been offering that since about 2017, and they want to reassess after 2021 to see what they've been able to create. Their plan right now is to build about 14,000 affordable homes through that $3.75 billion. We've talked about affordable housing as an issue in the city. And we know that Mayor John Tory and the city councilors also had their own initiative that they brought to the table about a month ago, and that was the Housing Now initiative. And it's like I said, that's a good addition to the national housing strategy because we need affordable housing. We know that supply is at least from my opinion and from a lot of the data I've seen, supply is the biggest issue when it comes to affordable housing. You're not going to bring down the price of homes or the price of rentals if you're not bringing in new supply or renovating some of the older supply that's not in use, so that you give people more options to actually go and want to buy or rent these units. So it's once again another good start. We're moving in the right step. Is it going to be enough? Only time is going to tell. But what Toronto's done is they've made funding requests for more access to some of that capital, because $40 billion over 10 years is a lot of money. And a lot of money to be spread around through Canada. I've looked into some of the requests made by the Toronto Council and the City of Toronto when it comes to some of the funding. It's a lot of information, a lot of initiatives, and a lot of red tape that they got to go through. So I want to touch on that in a future video. It's too long to cover in this, but I am going to touch on that in another video, as well as the national housing strategy, because their focus is really fourfold: to create new housing supply, they want to modernize existing housing, and they also want to offer resources for community housing providers. So that's like Toronto Community Housing, for example, and different providers that are in Canada, as well as innovation and research. So these are very nice broad terms. My thing is, okay, what is the meat of the proposal? What are you really doing? I want to see where the money is being allocated and what these research and innovation programs are being offered. Because yes, it's nice to say we're giving money to all these different things, but like I said, these are very broad terms. Let's get into some of the nitty gritty and the meat to see where the money is actually being spent. This is $40 billion of taxpayer money. to try and build some new housing and try and renovate some old housing. Let's see where the money's being spent. I want to actually go into another video for that as well. So expect 2 videos in the future around affordable housing, one around the Housing Now initiative, more in-depth look at what the city is planning with 11 parcels of land that they said they want to give access to developers for to build some new affordable housing, and the national housing strategy and dig deeper into some of the initiatives and what people can do to get access to maybe building some of these new developments, access to some of the grants and the subsidized loans that they're offering. So expect 2 videos in the future. Basically, I just want to touch on this story because it's a good thing to have new construction and new housing coming to already densely populated areas. Kipling and Eglinton is very populated. I know when you get off the highway there, it's really tough to get through some of the traffic. So adding new housing there is a plus because there's a lot of people in the area, and it's a great area to have some new affordable homes available. So it shows that if we can build new housing in some of these dense areas, then we can obviously build more housing throughout the GTA. So we just got to push. So stay tuned for that. I want to actually ask you, what areas would you like to see new affordable housing put in place? What communities in Brampton, Toronto, Mississauga, Richmond Hill, Vaughan, Markham, wherever? Where would you like to see new affordable housing put in place? Where do you think that some already dense areas are in need of real affordable properties and affordable housing for people to move into? And yeah, put some of that in the comment section down below. Like I said, it's always a discussion. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, comment down below. This is always a discussion. Also stay tuned for Hot Market. We're bringing that another episode 3 for season 2. It's coming out next week. Hot Market's coming out for next week. Stay tuned for that. And don't forget, we're also going to be putting out 2 videos that we want to focus on: the National Housing Strategy and the Housing Now initiative. So, because these are very in-depth conversations, very in-depth topics. Like, share, subscribe, comment down below. We're going to see you next week. Peace.